So let me ask you this. So along your journey and your career, what have been three of your greatest leadership lessons that you've learned and that you've continually kind of gone back to and relied on?
Yeah, so that's good. Goodness, and I'm continuing to learn every day. So this is at a time and place as of today, how I would answer that question. Things that I'm really kind of honed in on by way of leadership lessons. I would say number one, humility is key, right? And when you think about humility, the real definition of humility is a modest or a low view of one's own importance. And so notice that I didn't say a modest or low view of oneself, rather their importance. And so we shouldn't, just because you're humble doesn't mean that you're not confident. We should abide in confidence and be able to recognize that what our unique gifts are, what our strengths are as a leader, and drive confidence from that. But we shouldn't think too highly of our importance, right? And everyone is replaceable. And when we are in our calling, as I said earlier, that we have this, our fuel is our purpose, and we should seek to pursue that every day. And when we do that, everything else tends to fall into place, and you can render positive influence to those around you. And the other thing I would say, when you're not humble, and you were talking about this earlier, David, people pick up on selfish motives. People are discerning, right? And so, when your intent is not good and it's all about self-promotion, you're really not going to engender a followership. So I would say humility is key. We aren't as big of a deal as we think we are. And remember, people are generally concerned with themselves anyway. It's just human nature. And so our focus should be meeting them where they are and attempting, to relate to them, encourage them, inspire them to be the best versions of themselves. The second thing I would say as a leadership principle, that's important to me is take action. Successful leaders are willing to make decisions and take action. And unsuccessful leaders are afraid to make decisions for fear of failure. And in order to do this, you have to get to a place where you understand how to deal with inevitable failure. And failure has to be viewed through a lens of opportunity. What can I learn from this situation? How can I refine my capabilities through this failure? Because the more you contend with failure by taking action, the less overwhelming it becomes. And on that note, there's a great quote from a guy named W. Clement Stone. He's the founder of Combined Insurance, squarely in our space. He said, "Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will." Great leaders are great decision makers. And half the battle is a willingness to take action. So I would say humility is key, take action. And then number three, and this is, I'm a major work in progress on this leadership principle, but listening is more important than talking.
Oh, yeah.
James said we should be quick to listen, slow to speak. And I think that's so important. It's a great quote. We have to be, as leaders, quick to listen. How can we be effective decision makers if we don't listen? And there have been so many times in the course of my life, in the course of my career, where I just spoke too soon. And it made me look stupid, and it rendered, poor outcomes. But I would say, that we have to be great listeners. And great listeners are also great observers. They have, this ability to be very observant, and they've refined their discernment as a result of being a great listener and a great observer. And they've learned also who to listen to and what to listen for. And they're adept at observing trends and traits because they aren't solely, bent on their agenda. which leads to better collaboration, better teamwork, and ultimately better consensus, which you're trying to drive as a leader every day. So I would say, again, just to reiterate, humility is key, take action, and listening is more important than talking.
And if you like that clip, make sure to like and subscribe to more of our content.